Hey, this is Chantal Girardi from Online Business Marketing, and today I'm going to show you how to take one piece of content and repurpose it into 20 pieces of content. Now, this is specifically if you're doing a Zoom recording, a Zoom meeting like we're doing right now. This is how I actually do my YouTube videos, and it's how we repurpose our content. Or alternatively, even if you've done, say, a video recording, you can use this strategy as well. If you haven't done a Zoom recording and you haven't done a video recording, but you've done a blog, you can simply go from let me tell you now, from number 3. You could probably just move from step 3 and be able to still follow these steps. So I am going to give you 10 ways today to create 10 steps to creating 20 pieces of content from just one video or Zoom recording. Having a structured repurposing content plan is absolutely fundamental. If you do it over a course of a couple of days, it can honestly do your head in. But taking an hour to simply do this, or maybe 2 hours, depending on your skill level, you'll be able to nut out 20 pieces of content and get it done. Okay. And once you have that written as an SOP or a step-by-step or as a guideline, you can simply do that with every long form piece of content that you create. As I said, whether it be a video, a Zoom recording, we've even done these for online course modules as well as if you're just writing a blog. So we're going to get into it pretty quickly. But you want to be able to make sure that you take that one piece of content and get the most out of it in all platforms, in all channels, and in all different ways. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. So number 1 is around taking that recorded session, and it's about putting it somewhere. Okay. So if we're talking about a recorded Zoom session, or we're talking about a video, you have to host it somewhere like Vimeo or YouTube. It can't not be hosted somewhere because you need the URL. And if you want to keep that piece of content ongoing, it needs to go somewhere. So for us, we use YouTube because that's part of our YouTube strategy. YouTube's the number 1 search engine for video content, and it's a Google platform. So we want to make sure that we're getting content up. So for us, we do it weekly, where we take this and repurpose it into a YouTube Masterclass video on YouTube, which helps us to grow our YouTube channel. So for us, then we will take that video. We'll download it, upload it into YouTube. We'll make sure that we put a relevant thumbnail in there using Canva. You can also edit inside YouTube as well. And you may even wish to put a call to action image at the end of the masterclass as well. So if anybody watches up to the end, you can ask them to subscribe. We have your contact details there, which would be awesome as well. If you want to know specifically how to use YouTube, go and watch one of our previous trainings on YouTube. I'm not going to delve into that today, but just to know that there is some training on that as well on how to actually do that. For YouTube, one of the most, I will say this, the fundamental parts is the YouTube thumbnail. The thumbnail is the scroll stopper, and it is one of the most important things that determines whether or not people click on your YouTube video or not. The second part is that title description, making sure that it is an SEO, big fancy words, but making sure that it basically is the words that your ideal customer would be using to search for that content. And you can use the platform answerthepublic.com in order to be able to come up with what that title would be. And then on top of it, once you've uploaded it, you've come up with your title, there is the description part as well, where you could do short form content as to the takeaways from that YouTube video, what they can hope to learn, and the outcomes that they're going to experience from actually watching that YouTube video. And then of course the call to action, and everyone knows that I like 3 call to actions. 2 of them definitely need to be some form of lead capture. So for example, it might be choose a time to chat or book a call, and definitely something like a relevant download our lead magnet. And the other one might be just taking them straight to the sales page. So I love 3 call to actions, and 2 of them, we definitely want them to be lead captures. So kind of a hot, a medium, and a cold sort of call to action. The description is very important as well from an SEO perspective. So making sure that you are using words that your ideal customer would be using. And making sure that throughout the video, you're asking people to subscribe to your channel, and you are referring to the resource or how they can further connect with you. This is super important because 80% of 80% of people who regularly watch your content on YouTube actually haven't subscribed, which is nuts. So this is why you'll notice that people are constantly saying subscribe, 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 because 80% of people actually haven't subscribed. So for example, I think I've just hit 500 subscribers on my channel. I'd obviously love to get that up to 1,000 because it gives me more visibility. So you have to get them to subscribe throughout your video. You've got to remind them to do that. We've recently also explored this, and that is using YouTube Shorts. So if you take one of your short clip shorts, and I'm going to talk about it later, that significantly increases the subscribers. So we have found that our subscriptions on our YouTube channel mostly come from YouTube Shorts and sharing the short form content and sending people to the longer form content. So please make sure that you include that in your strategy. For each of these sections, I'm going to share with you a ChatGPT suggestion. And this one over here is to make sure that, is you could possibly use ChatGPT to come up with a catchy video title, description, and a script with a call to action for that particular episode. Especially if you've got the transcription, and the second step is getting the transcription. So once you have that transcription, you can put it in and you can ask ChatGPT to come up with those ideas for you. Make sure that you have customized your channel so your channel is very familiar with what the overall outcome of that video is. And if you say the overall outcome of any of your content is not visibility, it is not engagement, it is not growth in fans, it is to qualify and capture a lead. That is the overall outcome of what you want from any form of content online. So number 2 then is making sure that you get that transcription. So you'll notice for me, I've got Otter AI, which is automatically transcribing this video right now, which is awesome, which means we have the transcription. We can take that transcription and we can put that into ChatGPT, and we can ask it to pull out the most impactful quotes or expert tips or statistics or key moments or takeaways for us then to be able to create short form content from, or to cut up and to make into reels. So once we've got that transcript, we now also have those key messages and the things that you say. So for example, for me, I personally write my blogs first. This is written as a blog beforehand. I spend about an hour creating this content. From there, after I've created that content, I do my Zoom recording. It gets transcribed, auto transcription. But what we find is that when I'm actually speaking, you always say extra stuff. You always get extra juice. There's always extra magic. So I always say, even with my podcast, I say, if you've watched my masterclass and there's a podcast on it, go and watch it, because it's not the audio from my masterclass, which means you can actually go watch it. And sometimes there's extra stuff in there that, well, most times there's extra stuff shared that hasn't been shared elsewhere. And it's also a timing thing, because I might have done a Google masterclass a year ago, whereas my Google podcast recording might be sooner. Cool. So now we've got the video up on a platform like YouTube or Vimeo. We've now also transcribed it and got our takeaways and key moments. So the third part of that now is we're going to create the SEO blog. Okay, so as I said, I do mine in a different order. That's the way I like to do it. Because I like to have it here with me so that I can reference it while I'm presenting. Yes, I know I look at my notes, but the reality is that if I didn't, we'd be here all day and I'd waffle, because with my brain and my mind and how it goes, I go all over the place. So everyone knows, even when I'm presenting live, I have a clipboard, and that is to make sure that I stay on task and I don't waste your time by fluffing about, and I stay on point. So you rather have me looking down than not staying on point. Right, so then we go and we create from the transcript. We asked to create an SEO blog using the transcript. We want the blog to be between 1,000 and 1,500 words to make sure that we're balancing the depth and the readability. We use a plugin called Yoast on our WordPress website, which helps us to determine how good the SEO is in there. And we always want to try get it to be orange or to get it green. So once we've asked ChatGPT to do a keyword research into the business, looking at the overall outcome of what we're trying to achieve through that content, we can then take those keywords, ask it to put into that blog as well, and then ask it to structure the introduction, make sure that we've got all the key insights inside the blog, and that we've got a conclusion and a call to action. And again, personally, for me, I love a 3 call to action, 2 being lead captures. The newest thing on the block at the moment is an AI summary and having AI summaries for your blogs. So simply I go into ChatGPT after I've written the entire blog and I ask it to create the AI summary for you, which is amazing. And what that is helping is that now that AI is scrolling sites online, if you've got an AI summary, it makes it easier for it to scrape and find your content on there. So the AI summary is basically a summary of the entire blog, and it usually does quite a good job. You want to make sure that you're including long tail keywords as well. And you could use different media too. So for example, when we put our blog up on the website, the YouTube video is incorporated in that as well. We have any relevant backlinks in there. We've got our lead magnets down at the bottom, making sure that, that we've got multiple media and infographics and video snippets or whatever on our blog, and making sure that we are putting them onto the website correctly, which is really important. And as I said, you can use ChatGPT to obviously assist you with all of that. So step number 4 then is then taking that blog and sharing that blog as an article. So for us, as I said, our YouTube video is embedded in our blog, which means when we share the blog, the website link, the YouTube video is going to be there. So if they click into it, they've got the choice of watching the YouTube video, or they've got the choice of actually reading the SEO blog. So we've got the benefits of both worlds happening there. You can share it as a LinkedIn article, or set up your newsletter for LinkedIn, so that you can get subscribers, and start building that professional audience through LinkedIn. Utilizing the LinkedIn subscribe feature allows you to build a community that receives your content directly. So as soon as you publish that blog as an article in LinkedIn, it'll go to the people who have subscribed on LinkedIn to LinkedIn, which is amazing. So don't forget, you can also share what we do is we share our blog to Google My Business as well. We also share it to our private Facebook groups. So for me, I've got my lead generation Facebook groups, and then I've got my client Facebook group. So my client Facebook group, the blog is going to go to that group. It's going to talk to the clients and talk to the VAs who are the marketing managers and explain what it's all about. And it's going to talk to them like they're clients and like we're helping them. But when we're going out to prospects, we're obviously going to open the door and give them a call to action and say, if you'd like to work with us, feel free to contact us. So you want to make sure that the language is relevant where you are putting it. Really, really important. I always say respect the platform and respect the audience that you're on. Cool. All right. So as I said, you can again use ChatGPT to create that sort of intro into it as well, because you're not going to post the whole 1,000 or 1,500 article in there. You're just going to do a short intro, some of the takeaways, some of the outcomes of watching it. And then the call to actions, not going to be the 3 call to actions. The call to action will be go to the blog to read the rest or to watch the video, and the 3 call to actions are at the bottom of the blog. So number 5 then is making a reel from the key takeaways. So now that you've done the transcript, you've got the key takeaways from there. We can now make short form videos like reels, which are highly engaging, and obviously we can use them on Facebook, on Instagram, so that the social media algorithm, gets multi forms of content. So reels work best when they are brief and they're impactful. 15 to 30 seconds. I know you can go longer. You can go up to 90 seconds, but we find 15 to 30 seconds works really well. We want to make sure that if you've got captions on reels, that the captions are not where the words are. So the description of the post starts writing at about the bottom quarter of the reel. So you want to make sure that if you are putting words on a reel, that they are higher up, so that you don't have writing on top of writing down at the bottom. You do want to make sure that it is also readable. So sticking little words on a screen when people are looking on mobiles, it's too small. You want to make sure that the words are bigger. So therefore, you have to take into consideration what is the back of the reel or the video content that you're actually going to be sharing for this. So for example, B-roll footage is really good. So it's just background footage of basically anything. So you can put any words on it and it's just going to make sense. When I say anything, I'm going to step back a little bit. Anything that's relevant to your brand and to your audience and to the platform. Okay. If it doesn't make sense and it's like, well, why is this picture with that? It doesn't make sense. It's not good. The good news is that you can go into Canva. There are templates in Canva. Just because it says it's a real Canva template and they've put the writing down at the bottom doesn't mean it's correct. You should know better and know that the writing needs to go up to the top. It's the same with the banners. Often the templates, all the writing's at the side, but for mobile, it needs to be in the center. So, you should know better. Don't expect, just because it's a template, don't expect it to be 100% correct. Always go on and have a look at it afterwards and see whether or not it looks good. So you've created so you can use Canva. A second platform that you can use is called Pexels, Pexels. So pexels.com has got stock free video as well that you can use. Just make sure again that it is in alignment with your brand feel, your tone, and it is relevant to the words and stuff that you're putting on top of the banner, which is really important. Again, you want to make sure that you can take those reels now. Besides putting them on the relevant social media platforms, we can also put them into YouTube Shorts as well, and the videos can be shared on LinkedIn. So ChatGPT can obviously help with the transcript. Canva and CapCut can snip the video clips and add the engaging text overlays. And you can use B-roll footage from Canva or Pexels to write onto the presentation. So with Reels, that is, they want you to create hashtags. So you want to make sure that you're doing hashtag research and making sure that you're balancing popular hashtags with niche relevant hashtags. Remember not to copy paste or use the same ones or big ones all the time, popular ones all the time, because you could be shadow banned. And there is a blog on shadow banning on the website too, if you want to have a look at that one. So then add captions, obviously, to the reel. And then make sure that you put it on Instagram, Facebook, and just make sure when you're doing it. I had someone the other day going, when they post it on Instagram, it goes straight to Facebook, but when they post it on Facebook, it doesn't go to Instagram. The general rule is wherever you post it is where you'll get the most engagement from. So for example, when I did my ray gun impersonation and I posted that directly on Facebook and it went to Instagram, I got 15,000 views on Facebook, as opposed to Instagram, I only got 1.5. If I'd posted it organically to Instagram, the results would have been different. So for me, Facebook is my primary platform. We generate lots of leads from it. So that's why I always post on Facebook first and let it go to Instagram. Instagram for us is a brand awareness platform. And then always, you can always encourage, where am I up to as well? Yeah, and then obviously you can also repurpose it for things like TikTok too, and LinkedIn. Cool. So number 6 is then now creating the social media posts, right? So now it's just about creating normal social media posts so that you can engage your audience and drive traffic to the website, to your blog. I'm going to squeeze in something else here again. This is why it's important to watch the masterclasses or be here. And that is that you want to make sure that your Google Analytics is set up so that every blog that you're posting on your website, you are tracking through Google Analytics. So you can see which your high performing blogs are on the website. Really, really important. And what we do on an annual basis is our top 20 YouTube videos, our top 20 blogs, whichever ones are performing the best, we make sure we go in and we update the content and the call to actions to make sure that they are still relevant. Those that are not performing at all, my recommendation is that you change the title before you do anything else, the title, and just check that you do have the relevant SEO in there to see if you can revamp them. Blogs are pretty cool because they can come back to life. YouTube videos are very cool as well. Just because it's 6 years old doesn't mean it's not going to come back to life. It can actually come back to life if you rework it, which is really important to know. Cool. So with the Facebook posts, then you could simply use ChatGPT to draft some posts that will drive engagement. You're focusing on your content pillars. So whether or not it's going to be educational content, whether or not it's going to be social proof content, whether or not it's going to be statistical or, expert tips. Yeah, or maybe it's just going to be an offer post of what you're actually one of your services. You want to make sure that you are following your content pillars and also your 21 content ideas, which I always talk about. Cool. So make sure that you can either go into something like Canva and make pretty graphics and then create the post. The number one rule of ChatGPT is to make sure that it doesn't smell like ChatGPT. So make sure that if you are using ChatGPT to create the content from the transcript, what I like is because it is the transcript, it is your voice. So you can ask ChatGPT to keep it in your voice and in your style. And then I always ask it to remove its emojis, and I always put my branding emojis in. I always follow the 4-point structure. So hook, a scroll stoppable hook, connection, connect with them and their pain. Credibility is why you and why this, and showing how clever you are. And then call to action. And call to action is not always a sale. Call to action is literally the next relevant step. If I've read this, what would the next relevant step be? Maybe I've got questions. So maybe you want to email me your questions. Whatever that next relevant step would be. But I do at the bottom of a blog, do like to have those lead captures as well. Cool. So then so that is our social media post, which obviously can go across to all our platforms. We want to make sure that we are respecting the platforms and respecting the audiences there. And I always say it is a VA's waste of time if they are sitting and just making Canva images all the time. Go and do what I did last week and get a whole bunch of AI images created. Or alternatively, I take candid shots throughout the day. And when I'm taking candid shots throughout the day, I just use those images, and those images get repurposed because they are my values. So generally I'm in my exercise gear, I'm outdoors, I'm in my camper van, I'm doing something outdoors or exercising, and I'm sharing that content. But that is my values, that's my brand. So it works well. But yeah, so you just want to make sure that you have those images on file so that your team can simply go in there, and they don't need to be sticking a logo on everything. They don't need to be sticking, the title on absolutely everything. It's nice to have a balance of perfectly scripted, Canva images, but really we need that social element. We need that human connection and that feel of you. So number 7 then is about designing an Instagram or LinkedIn carousel for more interactions. So what we know, especially when it comes to Instagram, posts don't always do well, but carousels do better because people click on it and they're curious about what the other images are. So that curiosity gets them to stay longer and actually read your posts a little bit more. So carousels do work really well for interaction and engagement, and they can also break down complex topics into digestible slides. So they're very effective on Instagram and on LinkedIn, where you can swipe through, 3 to 5 images. So maybe it's your 3 tips to something or your 2 tips to something. Make sure if you are allowing it to go from Instagram to Facebook, make sure that when it gets to Facebook, the number 1 image, the header image, is actually at the beginning, because sometimes it's not. So you want to go and you want to check your work. And you want to check how it actually publishes on the other side, especially if you're using a social media scheduling platform like OBM Hub. You want to make sure that when you are posting on it, that there are line breaks, and you want to make sure that when it actually gets to be posted, that it actually is easy to read and easy to consume as content. So you can, you can use Canva to create the slides. So you might have a title slide like, 3 ways to get more engagement online. And then the next one would be step 1, step 2, step 3. And then you might have a call to action slide, which again is just that next step. But a lot of people, what they do is they put way too much content on the carousel pictures, on the Canva pitch, and they try to put so much words on there. No one is going to read it. It really needs to be almost like a thumbnail on YouTube, where it's a captivating image with, a FOMO sort of headline. enough to sort of engage them. So they get tip 1, they get tip 2, tip 3, but they can go to the post. So, you know, it's just go to the post. And if you want a more detailed response, go to the post. Or if you want to actually check out the blog or the masterclass, the recording, hit the bio, you know, go to the bio and you'll be able to connect with us there. So make sure that the call to action is relevant to the platform you are on. So on Instagram, they can't click the link in the post. They're obviously going to click the link in the bio. So you need to say that. Whereas when it comes to Facebook and the other platforms, obviously you can put the direct link to the blog there, which is really important. So as I said, be very, very careful. Facebook doesn't actually, all the platforms don't really like it if you've got more than 25% of your image is covered up in text. So, you know, that's a rule for ads. So you want to make sure that words on a text don't take words or text on an image don't take up more than 25% of the image. Really important. Again, we have to respect the platforms. We don't want to upset them. So ChatGPT can help you with the carousels as well. We've been experimenting this with clients and their VAs in the last week or two, and it's been amazing the type of content that they've been coming up with the carousels. So yeah, really, really important. So number 8 then is stories. So you want to be able to create stories. So we all know that stories are temporary. They're only there for about 24 hours unless you add them as a highlight, but they are quick engagement and they do direct traffic to your main content. So for example, if I've created a post, like I did today, I created a post this morning on my personal profile. I'll always flick it up to the story and I'll always put a little arrow or something that says, if you want to know how to do this, you know, click here, because I'm directing from the story to the post. And it's people, there are some people that will only watch short form content. So they will just look at stories and scroll through stories. And it's such a quick, easy thing for you to do, is just to be able to flick it there. So you can also just create, you know, 15-second videos or create 15-second snippets from the video recordings that you've got. But remember that with stories, it all is about the stickers, it's about the polls, and it's about the question boxes or the GIFs. So whenever you do a story, you want to make sure that, you know, I always say the more features that you can put in, the better, because that's literally training the algorithm in, what you need to be doing. So if you've, you know, I go in and I go, write a sticker, location, a hashtag, music, and I go in and I always make sure, and I don't overcrowd it. I do it tastefully. Well, I think I do it tastefully, because again, you don't want too many words. It literally is a magazine cover. If you think of a story like a magazine cover, it is just hooks and hooks and links and call to actions. That's it. It's really nothing else. So you want to make sure that you're doing the right thing. So you can use stories on, you know, Instagram, on Facebook. And as I said, you can add them as a highlight if you do want to keep them on there for further people to further scroll through. Sharing behind the scenes snippets is really good. So behind the scenes of making this blog, or, you know, short snippets of what happened in the blog, takeaways from the blog. These are all great things that you can use inside stories. Or as I said, what I like to do is, because they disappear in 24 hours, you want to make sure that there's always something up in your story, always, always. So whenever you create content, just flick it up to the stories, but respect the story and put in the extra features. All right, from there, we then take it to email marketing, and we go, right, we now create an email and we send it out to our fans, okay? Because email marketing is a great way to continue to nurture and build trust by sharing valuable content to your email list. So you want to send out it, you could create a subject line. Remember, subject lines are really important. The first 5 words are usually the most important, and it is what it is. So you want to make sure that you have it there. If you use your branding emojis, or if you use little things like not hashtags, if you use brackets, your emojis, I play with capital letters at the beginning of each word, or sometimes I just use baby letters and then use capitals for the rest. And I do that because when people are getting their emails, you want to make sure that your email stops the right person, engages them, and gets to click on it, because no one is going to see your content unless they get past the subject line. So the subject line is really important. So you want to make sure that in your email, again, you just want to write a short blurb about the outcome of actually, watching the blog or reading that blog, and the masterclass, and the takeaways that they're going to have from it, and then direct them to the blog. And of course, your call to actions at the bottom of the blog anyway, which is awesome. You can ask ChatGPT to suggest the subject lines. However, there is one thing that I am not happy with at all, and I don't like, and that is ChatGPT subject lines. They never, ever, ever, ever get my approval. Usually it's a baby. It's normally twinsies or triplets. And that is, I ask for 10 subject lines, and I normally have to put, following the strategies that I teach and know, I take the subject lines and from 3 different ones, and I put them together to make a baby, because I don't like ChatGPT ones. For me, it sniffs like ChatGPT. Go to your emails, have a look. It'll say, unlock the true potential of what? Unlock the true potential of taking your dog to the store. You've already wasted the first 5 words. Unlock the true potential of becoming a real estate agent. Unlock the true potential of getting rust off your jet ski. There's so many different things, and you've lost those first 5 words. So I don't like what ChatGPT does. I prefer what I teach, and we've tested it, and it works a lot better. And then number 10 is taking that content, and you could now take it and turn that into a lead magnet. And a lead magnet could be a free resource on your it could be a free resource on your website. It could be a podcast recording. It could be a speaker's workshop or an event that you're going to run. You can now take that sort of long form video recorded content with the transcription and everything, and you can now turn that into a lead magnet funnel. So whether or not that's going to be on the other end, a call to action at the bottom of a podcast, or whether or not it's going to be you're going to speak and do an event, and then you're going to give them that free resource at the end in exchange for an email address, or whether or not it's just going to be a downloadable resource on your website. So therefore, if they actually want to see the resource, they can't just go on and look at it at your blog. They've actually got to fill out a form in order to be able to get that resource. And that's what a lead magnet is. It's about capturing the lead of the ideal customer. So having those qualifiers in place is really important. So lead magnets can attract new subscribers because when they are the right people and you're giving them the right resource, they'll happily throw their email at you, and you can now take them through an email sequence. So you can, with that lead magnet as well, make sure that you've got a nurture sequence. So a lot of people will just, for example, have a pop-up and just give them the resource. For us, you can pop up and give it to them, or we can ask them to check their emails to get that resource. Once they get that resource, you can take them into a 3, 5, 7, 9. Don't know why they're all odd numbers, but that's what's recommended. Nurture sequence, where it's a series of emails that builds know, like, and trust, and continues to address the problem that they originally came to you with, and asks them to book that call or take that next step of whatever that looks like. It's either buying a low priced offer, or it is booking that call and having a conversation with you. So so that really is 20 pieces of content. So I'm going to show you how you get 20 pieces of content. Number 1, you've got a video masterclass on YouTube, so YouTube video. You've got a transcript as well, which can also be time-stamped in YouTube. You've got an SEO blog. You've got a LinkedIn article. You can create 3 social media reels, which can go to Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Social media posts, you can create 3 posts from it. You could do 1 carousel post. You could do 3 social media stories. You could do 1 email newsletter, create 1 lead magnet, do 1 podcast episode, create 1 infographic. You could do a quote graphic. You could do one behind the scenes story. You could do 1 follow-up email, and you could do a LinkedIn newsletter. So repurposing content does not have to be overwhelming. You can literally go through these 10 steps now and use ChatGPT in order to be able to create those pieces of content from your video recording or from your blog. You want to make sure that you've got a streamlined process, that you create it as an SOP, a step-by-step on how you do it, and also add it to your daily activity sheet as well, so you know what you do on a Monday, on a Tuesday, and a Wednesday. and just making sure that that at the end of the day that you're not really wasting that time trying to come up with new content, but you're really milking it for everything that it's worth. So I'm going to say goodbye to the online audience that are watching today. This is Chantal Girardi from Online Business Marketing. If you want to access those other free resources in the form of blogs, vlogs, podcasts, and free downloads, you can head to onlinebusinessmarketing.com.au. Go to free resources. If you are part of the 80% who have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you have followed us on the Meaningful Marketing podcast on Spotify, Apple, please make sure that you give us a rating as well. In order to be part of the live audience, you do need to be one of our paying clients. Simply click the link in the description below to find out how you can do that. And because now we get to do the fun part, and the fun part is we get to network, chat, take away our action steps, and answer any questions.